Hey guys, I'm Patrick from Alpine Freestyle and this is the next summer edition video. As you can see, short pants, summer video, and today I will talk about my camera gear. I asked you in spring what kind of videos you want to see in the summer, and the least voted chapter was what's in my camera bag with 6%, but in this poll 52% of you said that you want to see all 3 videos, so I guess it's even more than those 6%. Still, this video is especially for the people that highly appreciate the quality of my videos, because today I'm going to show you the gear I'm doing the quality with. So the ice rink setup basically is just this bag with my 2 big cameras in and all I need to operate them. The event setup, where I need, one of my hardest challenges today will be not to touch the microphone. One of my biggest setups, or my biggest setup, is the travel or event setup, when I'm using the drone bag, the pocket bag and the big camera bag. And then there is the far travel setup that I'm using, for example, for the United States this year, that I used for my trip to Thailand last year, which is just putting all things I need, so one big camera, the pocket and some additional things into this bag. So this is just a travel bag. It's empty at the moment because the next far travel is far away. So I'm making it a smaller setup to this table. By the way, tripod, I don't need to show you tripods. This is the small tripod I use, the big tripod I use. This camera is on currently, I don't need to show you tripods. Also, I'm using a professional light dome for my studio shots, not now because I got the window right here, the light setup is good, and for the summer videos I just want to keep it a little bit easier, and the light dome is at its place, so I also don't need to show that to you. Also the Shure MV7, this is my studio microphone, you can see right here, it's a 200 euros microphone, which has a great sound, especially if you're coming close to it. I just love it. Since I have this microphone, the sound quality of my videos is so much better. But now I got it reduced to those 3 bags. So those are the 3 bags I'm using most of the time. Let's start with the outside of the bag, where I have a selfie stick. Next time hitting the microphone. Where I have the selfie stick for my GoPro, where I have a small tripod, so those close to the ground shots at the ice rinks, for example for skate reviews, they are all made on this tripod because it's very, very bendy. So as you can see here, makes very low angles possible, and it's also possible to use this thing to clamp it into some fences for time lapses, whatever. Pretty useful, highly recommended. This thing is necessary for the gimbal. I will show it to you later. So this is the outside of the camera bag, not that spectacular thing. Now let's have a look inside what we have here. So this is the area where I have all the batteries and chargers, replacements. I have 2 types of batteries because the 2 cameras need 2 different batteries. This is everything in here. I also got some ND filters in here, so if you want to have a bokeh, so those soft looking images with the soft background, with the not in focus background, like I did in the Budapest video, and it's sunny, then you need to use those sunglasses for your camera. Not too much to talk about that. Then in here we also have the Canon, third time, we have the Canon R7. This is the camera I'm taking with me when I'm traveling and I don't want to take the full bag, and I just put 1 camera out of that, and this is mostly the Canon EOS R7 because I got all the features I need, but it's just an APS-C camera, so it has a smaller sensor than the R8, which is running right now, which has a full frame sensor. This is just a very versatile camera, and you got everything you could possibly need in this camera. Also stabilized sensor, so out of the hand shots, even with a pretty long lens like this is the 24-105. I'm barely using this lens. I mostly use prime lenses like the 50mm f1.8 or the 16mm f2.8. This is just barely used. I use it for photographing, or I used it, for example, for Ice Speedway in Insel, where I was in the spectators row and I want to come close to the race. I used this lens. The 50mm is mostly used for those close-up shots. So for example, those slow motion shots where I'm stopping in the direction of the camera. Those beautiful shots and the studio shots of the ice skates, they're all done with the 50mm lens. The 60mm f2.8, for example, this is the lens I love to use, for example, in Polarion, because it still lets a lot of light in, but also has a wide angle. So all of those action shots in Polarion where I have to come closer to the skaters because there's not too much space, but also want to have some light, this lens on the Canon EOS R8 just does the job. By the way, those lenses, the 50mm and the 60mm, they're both below 200 euros. I bought them used because if you're holding the cameras close to ice skaters' feet and they're in motion and probably hit it, then you're destroying a 200 euro lens and not a 15-35 f2.8 zoom lens, which is around 2,500 euros. I prefer to have those cheap lenses, not just because they're cheap and if you break them, it's not that hard, but also they are more lightweight because if you're carrying the camera on a gimbal, the weight factor, if you're doing this the whole day, definitely has a point. By the way, this is an APS-C camera. If you know something about cameras, you probably know that, which means it's a crop factor of 1.6. So this 16mm lens is like a 25mm lens on this camera. And this camera is carrying a full frame sensor and has a 24mm lens on it. So this means 24mm is 24mm. Something about camera basics. Power bank always there with me if I need to recharge it. But now I'm going to switch between the R7 and the R8 so you can also see the R8. I love that sounds that those cameras make if you're exchanging lenses. Awesome. I love it. Anyway, now I'll take this camera, the Canon EOS R7, bring it one time close to the R8 so you can see it. Beautiful camera. I love it. I love to work with it. Sensor is a little bit old, so it could be better, but still perfect camera for me. It does everything I want. And now I'm going to change to this camera. 3, 2, 1. And here we are on the Canon EOS R7. By the way, it's so stupid that I run away from the microphone and continue talking. Probably you won't hear me or it will sound very bad. But anyway, I will show you the Canon R8 with the 24mm f1.8 on it. So this is the setup that creates the most beautiful images I can create. This is a full frame camera, so massive sensor with a 24mm prime lens on it. Absolutely beautiful images, absolutely beautiful to work with it. Now I flip the screen, now I can see myself, see what I'm doing, see that the camera is running. Anyway, the Canon EOS R8, a full frame sensor that produces gorgeous images. Just look at the Budapest After movie. It was filmed on the R8 with its full frame sensor with the 24mm f1.8. This is the best image I can create. This is also the setup I use for my studio shots when I'm in front of the camera, as you just saw it. But the R7 with the 16mm also does a great job. You won't see the difference on YouTube. Anyway, let's put the lens cover on it. The bad thing about the R8 is you have a absolutely perfect, brilliant, gorgeous full frame sensor, but the rest of the camera is pretty basic. So the R7 offers everything like a stabilized sensor, like autofocus joystick, which you don't have in here. You have everything but an APS-C sensor that is a little bit old. And here you have a beautiful sensor, but nothing else. You can use the advantages of the full frame sensor, but that's it. So I own those two cameras. So I got an APS-C sensor, a crop sensor, and I got a full frame sensor. I got a stabilized sensor, I got a net stabilized sensor. I got a quick classical shutter, and I got a pretty freaking fast electronical shutter, like 40 frames per second photographies. Those two cameras, they are connected with each other. Both give me everything I need to make the best quality possible on YouTube for you. So now I have those cameras, I have this camera back, and I don't have any money left. Basically, I'm carrying around all the money I ever earned and saved in my life. Terrible to say that into the internet. Anyway, that was the R8. And if I want to get the best out of the R8, then I have to put it on a gimbal. And my actual gimbal is the DJI Ronin RS3, which is, compared to my old gimbal, let me get it for you. Still got my old gimbal. This is the DJI Ronin SC. If you want to start with a gimbal with a small mirrorless camera, then this one is perfect. But those heavy full frame cameras with the heavy lenses, this gimbal, yeah, saw its borders coming, and I can felt it starting to shake while I was filming in the undersling mode. And I prefer the undersling mode, especially in those action scenes in Freestyle when you're coming closer to the feet. It just looks better, and this gimbal nearly died because of it. So I decided to upgrade this gimbal to the DJI Dusty, to the DJI RS3, which was luckily sponsored by a good friend of mine, Philip Ruiter. And as he saw what I could create with this new improved gimbal, he loved that he has done this investment. So Philip, again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, because I would not have the money to buy this nearly 1,000 euro gimbal, and I just love to work with it. Additional to the gimbal, I have 2 battery grips. This is the RS3 battery grip, so this is the grip that was made for this gimbal. This is the RS3 Pro battery grip, so the bigger and better battery grip, but that's not the reason why I bought it. The only reason I bought it is if I hold the RS3 battery grip, my finger here is completely hanging off because I have very big hands, and this one just fits into my hand perfectly. This setup is just working for me and gives me the possibility to work with it for a full day. Then you can also put this on the bottom. You don't have to, but if you want to work like this, definitely useful. And if you want to stand it, so I'm always wearing this thing. And as I said, there is this gimbal accessory. So the camera will be hanging here in this area, and I can now hold it with 2 hands, which makes it way more ergonomic. Sometimes if I want to go undersling, I still hold it like this with like 4 or 5 kilos. This can become very heavy throughout the day, but with 2 hands you can also do the undersling mode, but you can hold it with like 2 fingers. It's way more ergonomic. So this setup is just awesome. This is the gimbal plate where you mount the camera on to the gimbal. This is the connecting cable, and then as everything set, then I have this Ulanzi RGB light. It's like a 20-euro light that can give me all the color temperatures I need. So this is a pretty warm temperature at the moment. I can make it also cooler, or if I want, I can switch the colors. So this is like a green now. From green I'm going into the blue areas. From blue we are coming to red. So I got nearly all the lights I need. Hopefully it's visible in the camera. I can hold it to my hand. Then you can see the colors changing. This light, 20 euros, and all those color effects I want to have. For example, I want to color the smoke behind the skates, or I want to give my face a blue hue when I'm talking to the camera in the studio. This is made with this thing. Then, of course, battery chargers are in here. And this piece of gear, this is making the audio for my skate reviews, for my tutorials when I'm talking into the camera and I'm on the ice. You can wear lav mics with receivers and everything. I prefer to carry this small but absolutely useful setup. This is the DJI mic. Just works perfectly. The sound quality is good. I can also talk right into it when I'm doing interviews. For example, with the Freestyle Offenburg, you have this receiver. You put it on top of the camera here, connected with a cable into the camera, cable and wind protectors, everything is in there. Then you can use the microphone, you can clip it here, or if you want to have the microphone a little bit more incognito, make it like this, and then you nearly won't see it anymore. I don't need to care about it to recharge, because at the moment I put it into the box, it charges automatically. I can also record audio on it, and I need to charge this box. Like, I charged it once since I own them. I own them for like 2 years, and I charged it once. It's just a perfect working setup. You just have to plug it into the right outlet of your camera, because stupid me, this is the second time I'm recording this video about my camera gear, because at the first recording, I put the DJI mic on top of the camera that was recording, put the cable down, and then here there are 2 inlets. There's one with the microphone and one with the headphone logo. And if you put it into the microphone, then the audio file gets into the camera, put together with the video file, and you got it. But I put it into the, not microphone slot, but into the headphone slot, and I didn't record any audio, no backup, because I forgot to press record later. And now I have to do it again without my cameraman, and yeah. Accidents happen at filming, this is how it goes. The last but not least box in here the GoPro box. In this box I'm carrying my GoPro 9 and my GoPro 11. Since the GoPro 3 I had every second GoPro. I had the GoPro 3, the GoPro 5, the GoPro 7, the GoPro 9 is in here and the GoPro 11 is here. The GoPro 9 served me pretty well during COVID, but sometimes it just ate the data and I got so much data lost on this stupid camera. The GoPro 11 just does its job. The GoPro files, they don't look bad if you have good light, but at the moment you're just indoors, the moment you don't have any sun left, GoPro files just look grainy, the quality drops, and low light, definitely not what those cameras are made for. And I'm shooting the most of my content low light, my studio content low light, my ice rink not using too much light, so the GoPros are getting really grainy with those cameras. It's nice to have them, some shots are just possible with GoPros, but for quality I'm using the big cameras and they just never disappoint. But sometimes you need GoPros for time lapses, for action footage, or just to mount them to helmets for awesome shots. For that they are still perfect. I also got my DJI Pocket 2 here, so the camera that served me pretty well during COVID as well. I got it on the lake, I get all the lake shots with it. This is just a backup if some of my cameras break, or if the Pocket breaks, or the second angle breaks, or if I just need a fourth angle, then this is the camera of choice. I also got replacement batteries, got chargers, got some mounts in here. That's it with the camera bag. Let me just put this one down. And we got space left for those two bags. What should I start first? Let's start with the Pocket, because we were talking about the Pocket. The DJI Pocket series is just a piece of gear I will never ever want to live without. Let's start with this Pocket, the Pocket 2. I got the Pocket 1, which was the first camera I owned that was not a GoPro. The Pocket 2, which served me pretty well, but as the GoPro it was terrible in low light because of a very small sensor and lots of megapixels. And DJI then saw that you don't need that much megapixels. Did you know for a 4K image you don't need 20, 30, 40 megapixels, you just need 9.5 megapixels. And the Pocket 2 had 20 megapixels, so 20 megapixels that need light, which makes the low light performance just bad, because lots of megapixels, small sensor, bad low light performance. This camera has 12 megapixels and a 1-inch sensor, which makes the low light capabilities and the overall quality of this camera just awesome. If you want to start a YouTube channel, if you want to start vlogging, if you want to start film something without your phone and you want to have a great quality, then this is the camera of choice. This is from all the cameras, all the gear I have here, if I had to recommend you just one thing to start a YouTube channel, to start filming with it, then it would be this camera, the DJI Pocket 3. This is the actual DJI Pocket 3. This is just the bottom extension, so you can make the bottom area a little bit longer, so you can hold it like this, but still my finger is hanging off. So I also love to use this tripod with it. So this is the setup I'm normally filming. I can hold it in my hands perfectly. And if you want to switch it on, flip the screen. There you go. This is how it works. And now we got a stabilized, mechanically stabilized. So if you have a phone camera, the stabilization happens in software, so you get a wobbly image. But with a mechanical stabilized thing, you won't have this wobbliness, because the stabilization is not made with the footage, but it's made with the actual sensor. So this thing, the Thailand video, gorgeous images wherever I went. Low light, highlight, sunsets, beach. Thailand was completely filmed on this thing with a few shots with the R7, but not too much. A few shots GoPro in the water, obviously, because this thing is waterproof. But the most shots were done with this thing. It just did a great job. And this tripod, also very useful. You just set it down. What else do we have in bag? This thing, very practical. A battery, you can just exchange this area, this bottom area, with the battery area, and then it gets charged while you're using it. So you always have the replacement battery and you don't need to carry it with a power bank. Perfect. And you also got a wireless microphone, like I have it here with the DJI mic. You got it for the Pocket 3. So if you want to vlog, you just put it on, put the Pocket on. And we got a DJI Mic 2 receiver in the bag as well. And if I put it on, I can clip it here as well. I got the wind protector if I need it. I switch the Pocket on, then press the button 3 times. So I turn the camera around and then I start filming, I start vlogging. So this is the image you see right now of the Pocket 3. main camera, pocket free. This is also the audio of the pocket free recording right now because the microphone synchronizes itself. And you also have the ability to make this background blurry because I got a wide aperture. So this is the perfect vlogging setup. I used it in Thailand and nearly everywhere I go I use this vlogging setup. DJI pocket free for whatever you want to do, for whatever you want to start on YouTube. Perfect setup, highly recommended. And now I stop recording and go back to the main camera. Also switch the microphone off, switch the pocket off. It's not more than that to switch it off. Put it back together into its shell. Put the microphone on and there we go. Perfect. That's it with the DJI Pocket Free. Let's go to the drone, which is also from DJI. It's the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I know there's a DJI Mini 4 Pro at the moment coming out, but this drone just served me perfectly well. The footage looks gorgeous, looks perfect on phone screens for YouTube, but also on regular screens, even on the big screens. It also looks good on low light. This drone just does the job. It is sub 250 grams with 249 grams. Absolutely perfect. I fly it with this remote with the built-in screen, which makes the whole thing like a €1,500 setup. But with this setup, I don't need to buy any other drone for now because this setup serves me perfectly, and if I will crash this drone, I won't upgrade to the Mini 4 Pro. I will buy another Mini 3 Pro because it won't get better than that, and also the Mini 4 Pro has some limitations. By the way, if you want to increase the image quality of this drone, because it also has a wide aperture, which will make the footage edgy in the sun, you can buy this small piece of plastic with 3 ND filters for this drone for €50. €50 is a lot of money for those things, but I got it. It ups the image quality perfect. And I also got the Fly More combo. As I said, it's a €1,500 as it was brand new. I bought it on the release day for €1,500 with 2 replacement batteries. So you shouldn't buy a drone if you don't really have a use for the drone. But if you have a use for the drone, then the free batteries will definitely help you out. This drone sits in its bag sometimes for half a year without that I'm using it because I have no reason to use it, and flying drones is always a little bit complicated and you really need to know what you're doing, especially when you're flying indoors or in cities like Budapest. But then if you need the drone and you have the 2 extra batteries, when you really need to get the shot or get the shots, then absolutely helpful. Fly More combo, highly recommended. So let's make a conclusion about that. If I would recommend you just one camera and one camera at all to start doing YouTube or to film something which looks way better than your phone, then the DJI Pocket Free is your camera of choice. If you want to have something bigger, something better, with a better sensors, with more possibilities, the possibilities of a pro camera, then I highly recommend you the Canon EOS R7 that you're looking through right now. As you see, this camera just got everything very good, nothing perfect. It's the second step after the beginner camera like the R10 or the M50. The R7 is the next step, but this camera got it all. And before you buy a camera for €1,000 and then a camera for €1,500, make this step and you got everything you need if you really want a camera. And if you really want to have a drone, then the DJI Mini 3 Pro won't disappoint for everything you need. If you just want to have a drone, to own a drone and to fly a little bit, then the Mini 2 will also do the job. And that was my camera bag. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up for the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss anything in the future. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. Feel free to check out my merch. That's it for today, guys. See ya.